You ever do a leg raise like this and pop, all of a sudden your hip pops on the way down? Well, guess what? That's likely because you're not using your core and your glutes properly while you're doing the leg raise. So I'm gonna show you 2 ways to fix this hip pop while doing the leg raise, okay? First is really important, the most important thing when doing any sort of leg raise, it's keeping the lower back pressed into the ground, okay? So as you do your leg raise, we can, bring our legs up like this. You can bend your knees if you have to, if you're doing a more simple variation. Put your fingertips underneath your back and smash those fingertips down. You can even do it with both hands if you want to. Feel how hard you can push your lower back into the ground. Now, as you do this, slow and controlled, make sure you're maintaining that tension by pushing that lower back into your fingertips the entire time. This is really important because the harder we push that lower back into the ground, the more you'll feel your core muscles fire. That's really important when it comes to stabilizing the hips and the core together, which is often why people's hips pop, is the pelvis starts to tip like this, the lower back comes off the ground. So if you're doing a variation where your lower back starts to come off the ground like this, make it easier. Instead of doing leg raises with straight legs like this, bend your knees like this. Or if it's still coming off the ground, bend your knees even more. Or if you have to, you can even come down to the point where you're just alternating one leg at a time and really practicing pushing the lower back into the ground. Now, if that doesn't fix it all the way, just pushing the lower back in the ground and repeating your leg raises, well, let's learn to activate your glutes. So in this position, lower back gets pushed in the ground. Now the next step is activate the glutes. Now if you can't do that, if you can't feel that, we can start by pushing up to a bridge and feeling what it feels like to squeeze the glutes. So squeeze the glutes to get that hip extension. Now as you come down, don't let go of the glute squeeze. So don't let go, don't let go. It might be hard as you come down. You might have to practice a little bit. Don't let it go, don't let go. Keep those glutes squeezed. Boom. Now I press the lower back in the ground. The glutes are still squeezed. And one of the best ways to start is by driving the knees out like this and doing your leg raises to the outside. That way you can squeeze your glutes, you can feel the external rotation of the hips happening while you're doing this movement, okay? If that feels good, you can squeeze your glutes, you can keep your lower back pressed on the ground, you can straighten the legs, squeeze the glutes like I'm doing right here. If you can't, you can also turn the toes to the outside like this and do your leg raises that way. So the whole goal though is we can actively feel the glutes squeezing right here and the lower back pushing on the ground. It's likely gonna make this move a lot harder for you, meaning you're gonna get less reps or be able to do leg raises for less time, but the hip pop is gonna stop. And the core is gonna work a lot harder, and the pelvis is gonna stay married to the spine, which is really important for protecting your lower back, protecting your SI joint, etc. So give these 2 tips a shot. Press that lower back into the ground, squeeze the glutes while you're doing leg raises, and guess what? That hip pop is gonna stop.